Hello, I'm Lisa Capalla, and welcome to Where's Wilmington? So you remember back when you were a kid and you wanted so much to get your own bicycle because that represented freedom, right? Being out there in the open air. Well, these two guys have taken that childhood pastime and turned it into a life-giving adventure, vis-a-vis the Pam Mass Challenge. They've been with me before. We're going to educate you folks a little bit about what the Pam Mass Challenge is, why these guys do it, and how you can get involved. So I have Mickey Rooney here with me, and I have Frank Hobner here with me, and they've been on the show before. And why don't you start off, Mickey, telling the folks at home how you got involved with the Pam Mass Challenge?
Yeah, how I first got involved, it was, I met Billy Starr. He was unloading things from his mother's house. That's when he first got involved with it all. And then somebody said to Billy, why don't you start working and start a money fund, a fund to help Dana-Farber Hospital.
Right.
And he said, well, he said, I don't know too much about it. He said, but I'll give it a try. So he did. So he got 4 or 5 of us kids or guys or whatever. And we went out, we went there, and he used to keep all his paraphernalia at his mother and father's house.
Right.
That's how far he started. So he come back, and then he started pedaling a little bit with it. And I said, oh, let's put it on. Let's put it on. So we pedal, and we're pedaling, and each dollar that is pedaled and brought in, every dollar will go to Dana-Farber Hospital.
Right.
And as time proved, from that time on now up until this date, I think it's up to the whole thing in time, I think, it would be almost like 400 million.
It's 455 million.
455 million, yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it's 35 years. This is the 36th.
Yeah.
So you've been doing this a few weeks, right?
Yeah,
a
right.
few years, yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess part of the reason why Billy Starr was so committed is because his mom passed from melanoma. And from what I've read about him, he just felt kind of helpless and wanted to do something. And he had always been sort of an adventuresome person and decided to channel his adventuresome skills into fundraising.
Yeah.
And that's how the Pam Mass Challenge was born.
Yeah,
right?
right. That's almost
So
exactly.
you've been in it from the beginning. How has it changed from the
when
five
when
of you?
I first met Billy, and actually I'm from the Wilmington area here, and still am. There were 3 or 4 of us that seen an ad in the paper, or an article in either whatever paper it was, and we said, let's go see it and see what it's like, and we'll go down, and we stayed over down at the campsite down
In Plymouth, was it?
down in Plymouth. So we said, oh, okay. So we had to make a donation to get in.
Right.
And the donation was like, I don't know, maybe $3,500, not over 100 anyway. So we all came up with that, but we stayed at a big camp down there. And it still is a camp down there where people go and they bring their families in or whatever. So we went down, and Billy Starr was there and some of the other people, and then he got the nurses from the hospitals that were down there local to come in and see what's going on. And he used to have a big bucket, and it would fill it up full of spaghetti, and that's what we'd have in the morning. And he'd stir it all up, and I'll get some of the guys to do it or whatever. And everybody's yelling and cribbing. And then times you have a couple of beers or something. So then it come time that Billy Starr says, "Come on, let's go. We got to get on the road here and get going. We're going to be in trouble."
Right.
So that's what we did. From there on, it just multiplied over and over and over, and
I mean, now you have, it says 5 countries, people from 5 countries in like 36 states or something like that.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
now
there's quite
I
a
think
few.
there's more
so
states
that's pretty
than that.
big. That's pretty big.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
And when did you start getting involved, Frank?
This would be my 13th year. I saw in the paper, it was after the ride one year, and it was talking about Billy Starr and this thing about the bike ride. And I said, I can do that. And I showed my wife, and she says, well, you got good intentions, but you don't follow through. So I said, okay. So I took the paper, rolled it up, and put it on my desk. And that April, I called and said I want to do the ride. So they said, okay. They said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to do the Sturbridge to Provincetown. And she says, well, it's already booked up. I said, what do you mean it's booked up? It doesn't start till August. And she says, yeah, but it gets filled up quick. I said, it's only April. She goes, no, you don't understand.
Right.
So I said, okay, I don't want to do it. And that was it. And she had me information, so I said, no, if I can't do the whole thing, I don't want to do it. So I hung up the phone. And about 5 minutes later, they called me back. And she said to me, Frank, she says, you ever ridden a bike before that far? I said, no. She says, can you do me a favor? Can you just do the Wellesley to Bourne back to Wellesley, which is like 168 miles.
Yeah.
And the original course was 192
192.
miles, right?
192.
Right. And she says, you haven't
From
ridden a
Sturgis
bike.
on 192.
Right.
Yeah.
And she says, you haven't ridden a bike in a long time, so why don't you just maybe start off with that? So that's what I did. So I did the first year. I went by myself.
How was that?
It was interesting, trust me. It was.
Sounds grueling.
Yeah, it was. I did train a lot, and from 1 to 40 wasn't bad, but from 40 miles to 60 was brutal. I didn't think I was going to make it then, but I did, and I met some people along the way, and we stayed down in Bourne. And that particular year, I was late signing up, so I had to sleep in a tent out in the field. We just go. They had tents all set up. You just grab one, and that was your sleeping quarters for the night. And that's how I started. And then I met Mickey the following year, and some other guys, and we've been together for the last 12 years.
Nice.
So yeah, it was.
So I understand that there's a donation that you need to raise before you can actually ride, and it varies on. How do they decide?
It depends on what ride you do.
Okay.
Like the furthest ride is the one we do, Sturbridge to Provincetown, and you have to raise this year. You have to raise $4,500 if you want to do that ride. Whereas if you do a smaller ride, say there's a ride from Wellesley down to Foxborough. There's a Wellesley to Bourne ride.
I'm laughing because you're saying those are the shorter rides.
Those are the shorter rides,
okay.
right? Yeah. So they don't have to raise as much money. They can go anywhere from $1,000 up to $3,000 or $30,000, depending on what you raise. I mean, what you ride. Excuse me.
Right, right.
So that's how it goes.
Well, and I looked at the website, and they said that most of the riders raise double of what they need to get in. So.
Some ride, yeah.
Yeah,
some of them
that's
do.
a big commitment.
Yeah,
That's a big commitment.
There's quite a few people that have been doing it for quite a while that they have a lot of backing.
Right.
And they have some sponsors.
Right.
Whereas, we're just kind of go out and knock
Two
on
local
doors. Yeah, too long. We
guys.
just go
Full of
knocking
poor
on doors
people.
or whatever.
That's
Yeah.
right. Well,
So-
actually, your names will be up on the screen. So, folks, if you do find these guys fascinating, like I do, and you want to support them, you can go to the Pam Mass website, and you can actually contribite to their actual ride so that you can help them to meet their goal of $4,500. Have
Oh,
either
that's
of you
great.
started raising your money yet?
I have some, yeah.
What do you have? $10, $20?
No,
Where
actually
are you at?
now it's. Actually, I'm borrowing money from them to get back. No.
You're too cute. But are you near your goal, or will you, I mean, obviously you'll make
Well,
it.
probably. What was it? 5,500? I mean,
No, it's $4,500 this year.
4,500. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I'm covered with that right now.
You're
yeah.
close, good. But you're going to wait a little longer?
Well, yeah, I probably only have about, maybe $145 in this so
Okay.
far.
Well,
I don't
that's
like to send
something.
my letters out early because I feel like people, if you send them out too early, they say yeah, and then they don't send it. And, people forget about it. So I'd rather be under the gun and say, okay,
Right,
hey,
yeah.
Right. Well,
I'm doing
and,
the ride. I got a couple months.
And your wife said your follow-through is lacking.
Yes, right.
13 years worth.
Right.
But, maybe you're the kind of guy who likes to wait.
Yeah,
And that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I work under pressure, so.
Yeah, that's excellent.
You
So you mentioned that you train, or you did train
Mm-hmm.
before the event. Do you both train all year long to stay in good enough shape to do this?
He probably does. I don't.
Not to the extent of that, but I keep pretty much in shape.
Okay.
But I have the time to do that, and I can go to work when I want to, and not to work, and go to the gym, and where
Okay.
Frank he has to go to work, don't have to, but he has a job to do, and
Yeah,
that's his,
it's hard
so.
to get out.
Now, so you're retired at this point, Mickey, or are you still?
Yeah, I
work?
retired,
You're
but I can go back to work on storm work. I just work with the electrical companies, and
Okay.
when that's up, and then, but
And
that's
Frank,
that's
what
good.
about you? You still working?
Yeah, I'm working
full-time?
I work for
Makes it
a
hard.
trucking company, so
Yeah.
so it's hard. I don't get out of work till 5, so I try to rush home real quick. And as long as I can get out by 6 o'clock
Right.
during the week, I'll go for a ride because I can ride for 2 hours before it gets dark. And then other than that, I have to do it on the weekend.
Right.
We'll get up on a Saturday and maybe do a 40, 50-mile ride.
Oh my
You know,
goodness.
depending on who we got. you know.
Now you ride in all kinds of weather. You must, because anything can
yeah.
happen during
Well,
the
last year
Pan
was
Mass,
horrible.
right?
Last year
Yeah.
was
Last
probably
year
the
was
worst.
probably the worst ever.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the rain, torrential downpour. The
Hydro,
first
what
day.
do they call that?
Hydroplaning maybe, like a car would.
It
but-
was, we had a lot of people.
Hydration?
No, I forget what the name of the word is. Hypothermia.
Hypothermia.
Yeah,
oh,
last
from the
year.
temperature.
Oh, it was
oh,
brutal.
wow.
Anywhere if we had kids that were 24 years old that were down, people that were 75 that were down, it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was just it was bad. You know,
Yeah.
at the end of probably the last 30 miles, the rain was coming sideways.
Oh my goodness.
You know, and then you have to be careful of the lines in the road because they
Right.
get slippery. You know, some of the roads as you're going down, the bottom's all full of
It
water
was. They
now.
had people helping out
Yeah.
to come out to say meet him, meet me, and meet
Right.
him, and then whatever, and they put you that plastic all the way around you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I never had that. And when that one guy come over to me, it was Mike actually.
Yeah, Mike
He
Wells.
come over to me and wrapped me up with the paper, right? And I said, Mike, get the hell away from
Right.
me! I'm trying to make it to the end, and you're trying to pull me off.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Well, let's hope for better weather
Yeah,
this time.
yeah.
So it's usually August 2nd and 3rd. It tends to be the same time of year every year?
It's the first Saturday and Sunday every August. That's how they go by. It's always
you
the
don't
first
need to
weekend
worry.
in August, no matter what it is.
Okay.
And that's how everybody keeps track of it.
And you know, you bring up an interesting point. It takes a lot of volunteers to help this race get along. It's not
Thousands.
just, yes,
Oh.
actually
Thousands and
3,000.
thousands.
It says 3,000. They have
Yeah.
over 3,000 volunteers,
Yeah.
but they always need more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if folks do want to get involved, obviously they can volunteer to, you know, either
Right.
deliver
They
water.
give us all
or-
a nice shirt. You know,
Yes.
you got a beautiful shirt they get that's
Yeah.
help, and you can keep that forever. Give it to your kids or whatever, and later
Yeah.
on as you go on. But when you sign up for volunteering, you sign a paper and where you might go to, encourage people to keep riding and keep working and keep
Right.
They
doing
put them to
this
work
and-
too. I mean, it's not, you go out there, they check people in, they help them with their dinner, moving food carts, anything.
Yeah.
Directing traffic in the parking lot, helping people with bikes. It's
And a
if you
lot
didn't
of
have
that-
if you didn't have the volunteers, you couldn't do it because
Well,
Well, it would be too dangerous also
Yeah.
without the
Yeah.
medical staff,
Right.
in
Right.
case someone has a spill or
Right.
the weather isn't
Right.
cooperating.
Yeah.
Well,
or
at Mass
whatever.
Maritime, I never knew this, but they have a regular little hospital down there.
Oh.
Right at the
right down at the barracks there, right?
the barracks.
Yeah, Mass
And,
Maritime.
yeah, it's
down in
probably
Bourne.
half the size of this room right here, and so a lot of people would be put in there, and the
Yeah.
doctors would come in and check you and
Yeah.
check and whatever.
There's
and
a
they'd
couple
give
accidents here
permission
and
to
there, a
keep on
couple of
going and
scrapes.
Well,
So
it's
they're right on
just
top
good to
of it.
know that you've got somebody there
Yeah.
looking out for you. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Oh yeah. Geez,
So
that-
we're halfway through. We're going to take a little break, but stay with us. We'll be back with more of Where's Wilmington and more with these exciting guys who are talking about the Pan Mass Challenge. So stay there. We'll be right back with more. Hello, I'm Lisa Capallo. Welcome back to Where's Wilmington. So we're talking to these two gentlemen. We have Frank Hobner and Mickey Rooney, and they're talking about the Pan Mass Challenge, which is for Dana-Farber. And you know what I like about Dana-Farber? They take care of all types of cancer. It's not one type, and they're actually into prevention, cure, and treatment and education. So they cover all aspects, which is really nice. It's kind of an umbrella for everyone, and I
Right.
really like that.
Right.
So Mickey asked during the break that Frank talk about his ride to Sturbridge and the 40 miles. Tell us about that
I
ride.
think what Mickey was saying, out in Sturbridge when we start, we leave at 5:30 in the morning, and the first probably 40, 50 miles is all hills. It's
All hills.
It's brutal. when you
Whose
first
idea
start.
was that?
And I think it was
Can't
Billy
we just
Starr.
get
I think
a
it was Billy
flat?
Starr.
No,
Please?
Billy Starr.
Oh.
So the first 40 or 50 are pretty bad. And then once you get through that, it calms down a little bit, and it's a lot. I shouldn't say it's easier, but it's not like
Because
a
you know the
beginning.
runners, the marathon, we always think of Heartbreak
Right,
Hill, right?
right.
But you're saying the Sturbridge ride is the first 40 miles is a
First
whole
foot,
Heartbreak
yeah, up
Hill.
and down,
Oh.
40 miles, and then it's you got to be in decent shape to do it.
Yeah.
And,
So-
but a lot of people do it. Even though you don't, I shouldn't say if you can ride a bike, you can do it.
Right. And actually, they have virtual riders too,
Yes, they do,
which
yeah.
means that you can support by not riding. You can simply donate. I think it's $1,000 you need to do, and then you get the jersey, and you're actually part of the virtual process, which is nice. And they even let kids ride now too. You can set up a ride in your own community, and kids can do it. So anybody can get involved. Plus, you have pedal partners. Do either of you have a pedal partner?
I do.
Can you tell the folks what that is?
Pedal partners are little boys and girls who are going through cancer and other sicknesses out of Dana-Farber and probably other hospitals also. But on the last part of the first bike ride day, it's, what's the name of that stop?
Oh my God.
I forget, but they have a great big, it's a school, but it's no, you don't have to go in and do anything.
Right.
So, but so I have my pedal partner, and his parents will take the kids to that school.
Right.
And they have all kinds of things there to do and whatever. And then when I come by to go there, then I turn off a little path and go in and see if he's there and see what he's doing, whatever. And then you can, if you know them close enough, I go up in the one in Wilmington too now in Wilmington, and
So it's basically you get to meet the people you're riding for.
Right, exactly.
And that makes you feel
Right.
more bonded to the process. And when you're riding those last 30 hellish miles, maybe picturing who you're riding for makes you feel like you can do it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because sometimes it's good to really see. You know, you can think about all the people you're helping, but to really actually physically see someone probably helps you to have the mental attitude to complete it.
Now my little pedal partner's still at Dana-Farber, and he's been in there he'll probably be in there for another 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
And keeping it open that it'll work out. So.
Right, but that's a nice adjunct. I don't know that they did that right away. They've added some other cool things too, like Harpoon Ale is doing a golden ale that's in honor of the Pam Mass, and there's a 192 red wine blend from Trinchero Family Estates, Napa Valley, and that's called 192 because the original ride was 192 miles, right? So if people purchase those items or get involved that way through those companies, a portion of the proceeds will go back to that. And then, you know, Channel 4 is involved, and we all know that because that's all over the airwaves. The Globe, Fenway. You've got some
All of
really
them.
good sponsors, over 200
and
corporate
then as far
sponsors.
as the Red Sox go, and the kids here that need help over at the schools and everything, we have, but I take my pedal partners in the Red Sox, and they give you top shelf all the way through. And have
As
the
they
kids go in
should.
there.
Have you been to a Red Sox game? It's expensive.
Yeah.
I think they can afford it, you know. But it's nice that they give back.
Yeah,
It's
they
nice
do.
that they're willing to do that. So why do you guys do this? 13 years plus for you and 35 years for you. Why do you do it?
I'm kind of slow.
That's why you do it? No, you do it because you have a big heart. That's why.
I know. And then I go into Dana-Farber every 2 weeks and give platelets, blood platelets.
Do you ride your bike in?
I
Because
ride
that
on
would
the-
be a win-win.
Well,
You could
sometimes I used to do
ride
it
in.
when it was not so bad, but now I ride into Boston in the car. But usually, one time we used to drive in and then go around, but now it's suicide. So so we skip that part.
Right.
So we go in there and that's what happens. We
You
just-
probably just do it because you can't imagine not doing it. At this
No.
point, it's part of your
and
life,
it's
right?
It's like him. Wow, remember when you left Sturbridge, and we come out I don't know, I forget what time it was, but you were in the front. There was like 4 or 5 of us in the group going up, and we were going up the hill. And the first 40 miles, he knows how steep and hard it is. And then this guy goes by me, right? Remember?
Oh yeah.
And I said to myself, I said, hey, what the hell? What's this guy doing?
Right.
What's he got? some
How is
kind
he
of
doing it?
Something?
Yeah.
No, the next thing you know, he goes right by us on the steepest part, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we went, the next rest stop, if I remember right, the next rest stop was there, and we pulled in beside this guy, right?
Wow.
So I pulled up beside him, and Tom, and Frank, and then I said, how do you do that? So I looked, and he shows us he's amputated right up to the groin,
Wow.
and that's what he does. And he wrote a book, and he has a nice book for
Yeah,
Jeff. I
yeah.
get you one of them.
So
too.
obviously he doesn't get leg cramping or other issues that you as riders might have. And I know you have a prosthetic also,
Right,
Frank.
yeah.
Is that more
Yeah.
challenging for you?
Well,
Well, I
it's-
guess how would you
yeah.
know, really? You really don't have anything to compare it
No,
to.
I
But
hate walking. I can't stand walking. It's a lot easier for me to ride than it is to
Really?
walk. Yeah.
well, I would imagine because the weight
Yeah,
distribution and
yeah.
all of
and
that.
probably the first 8 years I did it, my leg at the end would be mangled, you know, be
Right,
all
right,
cut
right.
up and
Oh, wow.
stuff, and that's because I was just wearing my regular leg, and
Right.
so I found out through the VA that I could get a bike leg
Oh,
just for riding a bike. So the particular leg I use, we designed it up in Manchester, and we cut it back. We put a different foot on it, different type of foot.
Right.
We turned it into the crank, so it would be easier for me.
How
So
amazing.
yeah, so after going through the first 8 years of agony, now it's
What a
it's nothing.
difference.
Yeah, I shouldn't say it's nothing, but
right. It was better
yeah,
than it was, certainly.
right. So when I
Yeah.
get done now, there's no problem with my leg at all.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is pretty
Yeah.
cool. And that I'm sure that makes other people feel good too, because how can we complain when we see
when
him
they found, yeah,
Right.
that's right.
doing what
yeah.
he's doing?
Right.
So
No.
why do you get involved? You've been doing this 13 years. So is it just to get your wife off your case? I
Yeah,
don't
she said I couldn't do it. She's told me, but see, you know what? I can't do all those walks.
Right.
Everybody does. And when this come up, and I said, I like to ride a bike, and I enjoy it, and it doesn't
Right.
bother me. So that's how I got started. And after the first year, the second year I was able to do the Sturbridge ride, and I met these guys, and I don't think I'll ever stop now. I'll just go till I can't go anymore.
Wow.
And, 'cause
What
it's,
does it feel like when you're all riding together like that? Because you guys told me you really can't bring Walkmans or
No.
iPods or anything like that. They want you to focus. So what is it like, the energy, to be part of a group that's all going towards the same goal? What's that feel like?
Yeah, I think it's so rewarding, and no matter who you talk to
Yeah.
besides you, they're all just full of energy, and not that you're in a race to do anything
Right.
or whatever, and you're talking to this guy or that guy,
Right.
and people see him like that with that leg, and he'd probably ask him, what happened to you, what happened to you, and
Right.
that's. And it's all nice.
Yeah.
It's not somebody going to throw something at you
Right,
or whatever.
right, right.
And there's thousands of people
Yeah.
along the whole route.
And a lot
It's
of
unbelievable.
they have a name tag you can put on the back of your bike on the pouch, and it tells your name, where you're from, how many years you've been doing it. So you
Oh,
come up
wow.
behind somebody, you can say, "Hey, Mickey,"
So it's like an
hey.
introduction.
Yeah, introduction.
I like
You
that.
start talking. A lot of people wear like the person they're riding for, like
like
a
that
family
too.
member
That's
or
nice.
a friend. They
Yeah.
have pictures on them. There's all kinds of different teams. We belong to the Patriot Platelet Peddlers team.
Yeah.
We've been doing that
The
now.
Patriot
The Patriot.
Patriot Peddlers.
Peddlers.
that's exactly-
Peddlers.
Yeah. It
Oh
used to
my.
be.
Did you
right.
make up that name?
No.
That's very hard
No,
to say.
that's,
The
it
Patriot.
It used to just be
Peddlers?
it used to be the Platelet Peddlers.
Peddlers.
The platelet.
Peddlers. And the
Peddlers.
guy that was running it had been running it for quite a while, and he wanted to stop. So he approached someone from the Patriots,
Right.
and the Patriots said, "Yeah, we'll take it over." So we
Nice.
went from the Platelet Peddlers to the Patriot Platelet Peddlers.
Peddlers.
The
yeah.
Patriot platelet
Yeah,
peddlers.
PPP that's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and there's I think there's like 145 of us now in our team.
That's great.
Yeah. So everybody, everybody
Yeah.
goes out, raises the money. It all goes at 100%.
Right, 100%, and I like that
100%
too.
goes right to it,
That's
which is
amazing.
huge.
100%.
People
That's
don't,
really good.
people always say, "Oh, yeah, how much really goes?" And
Yeah.
you can go in the books and look, and you can see these other organizations. 87 cents on a dollar goes.
Right.
But the Pam Mass is 100%.
100%.
Right.
And so
right.
people don't mind. If
Right.
you're going to give to.
And if you look in the website, the pmc.org, which we'll put up on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
everything you'd ever want to see is there.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you'd want to know is there.
Yeah.
And
Right.
everything is very open and above board, and I really like that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So anything final you'd like to tell our viewers out there? I know that, folks, you can go to the pmc.org and look for Frank Hobner and Mickey Rooney if you want to donate directly to them so that they can get over the hump for the money they need to raise. But is there anything you'd like to tell folks that are watching, Mickey?
Well, I think to get involved with it at all, it's easy to find out in the newspaper or news at
Or
all.
on the computer?
Whatever it is,
TV.
and just send a letter into PMC, or say a lot of like Frank and myself or whatever. You could call me at my house, and we'll refer you to the main office, Billy Star, or anywhere else where you can come up and.
Okay.
and,
We see you in the town dressed like this. We come up to you and ask you about it.
Sure.
Because you're always wearing your
Always.
gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You're a walking advertisement,
is.
the billboard for
Yeah,
the Pam Mass
he is.
Challenge.
Yeah.
And what about you, Frank? Anything you'd like to tell our folks
No,
that watch in at home?
I mean, if you were like I was, I just, I used to sit back and say, oh, it's pretty good, pretty good. So now that I'm involved, I would like to see more people get involved. They do limit it. The
Really?
ride is, yeah, that's one of the problems is, even though it's $4,500 to raise, which is a lot of money,
Right.
if you can't make it, they ended up taking it from you. You have to give them a credit card to start.
Right.
And then if you feel like you can't do it anymore, there's always someone to take your place, believe it or not.
So there's like a waiting list.
Right, well, yeah, there's like 5,600 people that they let ride during the race.
Wow.
And they can't really go much
Right,
above
because
that.
it would be dangerous, and
Right.
how could you monitor all of those
Exactly.
people?
But if anybody out there that likes to ride, just go out and do one of the rides. That's
Yeah.
That's all I would say
Or
to people.
set up a ride for kids, or
Yeah.
become a volunteer, or do virtual.
Right, there's
or,
plenty to
you know,
do. Everybody's
excellent.
plenty to do.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for coming back
Well, thank
again.
you.
Thank
I look
you.
forward to
Very
having you
good.
back next
Yeah,
year
good.
so we can talk some more.
Okay.
Thank you for watching, folks. Just want to remind you that this is Where's Wilmington, and the next time somebody asks you, where's Wilmington, you tell them right here and right here on WCTV. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.